Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is able to hear my voice and see the presentation on the screen. Excellent. So normally क्या होता है कि ईयर लॉन्ग का अपना बैच जनरली जैन एंड तक कंटिन्यू होता है. Then we give a break for about a month and a half till mid-March when your board exams are expected to get over during the normal years. And after that, we resume by the end of March for our crash preparations of entrance exams. But unfortunately, because of global conditions, because of pandemic conditions this year, the board examinations have also been delayed and the entrance exams are also very close. So we do not have the luxury of waiting for the board exams to get over and then exclusively preparing for the entrance exams. जो हर साल हमको बोर्ड एग्जाम्स के बाद रफली 40-45 डेज ऑफ टाइम मिलता था, बफर टाइम मिलता था, जहाँ पे दबा के एंट्रेंस एग्ज़ाम की तैयारी करते थे, वो इस साल नहीं हो पाएगा. एंड that is the reason that we are forced to have these crash sessions in tandem with your regular schools and tuitions, right? Schools and tuitions में भी आपके classes चालू होंगे शायद बोर्ड्स के लिए, और उसके साथ साथ we will have to spare 2 hours minimum every day for these online classes and some more time for your regular practice. And that is why instead of having 3 hours of classes on weekdays, that like how we regularly we would have for crash, we have just 2 hours single sessions. So you should be able to manage most of these classes. As far as possible, we also try to record these sessions and put them online. But please don't depend on the recorded sessions, right? Because nothing which can beat a live session. So as far as possible, please do make it a point to attend the live sessions. But in case due to some unforeseen and unavoidable circumstances, if you have to get into skipping the class, then you can go online and check out the video of the day and you can cover up. Now, most of us have already gone through practically the entire course, some of us even more than once. So most of these sessions will be in the mode of revision, right? But me, I will assume that I have to start from scratch, because the assumption that you already know most of these things and we only have to do upar se revision proves to be wrong in many cases. A lot of students may have forgotten basics of many chapters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the basic theory of all the topics in English, reasoning, and all the lectures which I cover. And then of course we will be doing a lot of practice examples. I hope you guys are actually practicing a lot other than the classes that you're attending for crash, right? I know you have to focus both on boards and crash, but unfortunately that is how it is this year. So you'll have to manage your time well and go through it. Bhavesh, ka question, how much more time do we have to study excluding the crash classes? Any time which you are not spending in sleeping or any personal activities like eating, you are either studying for boards or you are studying for crash. Let me put it like that. जितना time दे सकते हो उतना time दो, right? Now in the last 3.5-4 months, I would prefer that you stop any other entertainment activity and we go forward with our preparation for these entrance examinations. Are we together, guys, on that? Hello? Ha. So guys, so is everybody together with me on the same page? Okay, it is difficult. We have to manage a lot of things, but कुछ नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है, चलो. पेज नंबर क्या होता है? पेज नंबर क्या होता है, गौतम? Are we on the same page? Literally means, are we agreeing with what we are saying to each other? Beta, vocabulary. Priyansh, is it okay to watch 2 lectures at a time? You mean at the same time 2 screens पे चालू करके? भाई अजय देवगन थोड़ी हैं कि 2 घोड़ों पे पाँव टिका के चलेंगे. How are you going to even pay attention to what is happening then? How is it possible to watch 2 lectures at the same time? एक के बाद एक देखोगे बात अलग है. अगर 2 स्क्रीन को चालू करके 2 अलग लेक्चर देख रहे हो तो फिर ना यहाँ के हो ना वहाँ के हो, ना घर के ना घाट के, राइट? Then you might as well not studying and then you might as well not be paying attention to either one of them, right? इट नेवर हेल्प. इट्स एज गुड एज मी सेइंग कि चलो मैं भी अपना वेब सीरीज यहाँ पे चालू कर देता हूँ और देखते देखते तुमको पढ़ाऊंगा. नहीं, यू हैव टू पे अटेंशन टू वन थिंग एट अ टाइम. यू हैव टू मेक अ चॉइस, right? It's not as if your mind is capable of processing two videos at the same time. You're reading something along with what you're watching, not great, but फिर भी ठीक है, manageable. But watching two videos at the same time, I very much doubt whether our brain is capable of pause. You have to take a call. You leave one, you focus on one, right? यहाँ पे दोनों करने के चाह में you will be losing both of them. ना यहाँ के ना ये समझ में आएगा ना वो समझ में आएगा. ठीक है, इट्स योर चॉइस. बट इफ आई वर यू, आई वुड नॉट डू डबल डुक्की, वन एट अ टाइम. चलो गाइस, रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन. Priyanshi, it's your choice, Priyanshi. I guess you are now old enough to adjust these things because it's difficult for us to have any other timing. So I leave it up to you, right? You are mature enough. You know what you're capable of. So I leave it up to you. So guys, reading comprehension, the most important and yet the most neglected type of questions in every entrance exam. And especially for certain entrance exams like IELTS or CLAT or LSAT, the importance of reading something is very, very high. In fact, starting 2020, the moment CLAT changed its pattern, the entire paper became one big reading comprehension exercise. And reading comprehension has always been a part of every exam, whether it is management related exams, whether it is mass communication related exams, whether it is exams of hotel management. The level of difficulty is different. Sometimes people may find it easy in hotel management and mass comm. The passages in business management and law may be a bit tough. But overall, we need to understand that reading comprehension is one important skill which is absolutely necessary. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through basic theories of reading comprehension, as in the types of questions, how you go about analyzing each question along with examples, and then we will take a look at a few passages, right? And after that, at the end of the session today, I'll be sending you a big PDF of multiple passages, which will be your homework for the month, right? Daily from that, a certain number of questions you will pick up on your own and solve. So about a month and a half, it should last. So without further ado, let's start reading comprehension. It's the main part of the verbal section of any competitive exam, right? And the length, by now you must have seen that sometimes they are small, like 300 words. Sometimes they can be long passages, 1000 words. So the obvious thing to do is to read the passage and answer the questions that follow it. The point is not in reading and just understanding the passage. That is fine. But the main trick lies in selecting the correct options. Because this is not like school-based passages where you just read the passage, you pick up a sentence and put it, and that is the direct answer. Here, it is much more than that. It requires you to not only read, but also critically analyze while solving the passage. That means the reading speed is not the only skill which is required. You also need to be able to infer the content, because the options will be so tricky that unless you are good at critical reasoning, you will get lost within the options, and that will lead to a lot of trouble. So the point is this, that along with reading comprehension classes, the verbal reasoning or critical reasoning sessions will also be equally useful for solving questions of reading comprehension, right? So what we need to understand is, when the school reading comprehension passages were asked in English, the answer was directly in the format of the data which was given in the passage. But here in entrance examinations, because now you are going to step into college, they want to check a higher level of intelligence. So the options may not be using words directly from the passage. They will use alternate languages, what we call semantics. So your vocabulary, that is your synonyms, antonyms, phrases, it becomes very important to know them, because instead of directly searching for the same word in the question in the passage, you might be searching for its synonym, or you might be searching for a phrase which means the same as the given word. So to solve reading comprehension, it's not only important that you develop a good reading speed, but it is also important that you have a good command over vocabulary. So I hope, guys, that you have been regularly practicing your vocabulary from IQ vocabulary book, from Word Power Made Easy, and also the idioms and phrases which are given. I hope everybody is doing that regularly. Yes. Okay, chalo. So a person who has a variety of reading habits, a person who has a huge set of reading habits, a person who does not read just one type of things but actually goes and does different types of reading, right? That is the person who generally does well in reading comprehension. So you could be you having a passage from science, one from history, philosophy, geography, economics. It could be from current affairs, it could be from mythology. So the more variety you introduce in your regular reading, the better you will be in being able to solve the reading comprehension passages. Now, Shashwat is saying that he forgets the idioms and new words learnt. And it's because when we learn a word, we generally just learn it as a word. We don't learn it contextually. And very rarely have I seen students who actually use that word in their day to day speech. What I would recommend is, supposing you have learned 2 to 5 new words in the morning, throughout the day, try to identify situations in which you can actually use the word in particular context, because only when you use the word in a particular context that you will retain it in your memory. Just 10 वर्ड्स का लिस्ट बना के उसका मीनिंग का रट्टा मारना इज नॉट इनफ. जब तक वो किस तरह से यूज होता है वो समझ में नहीं आता है, तब तक इट विल बी डिफिकल्ट फॉर योर ब्रेन टू अब्सॉर्ब इट इनसाइड. So whenever you are coming across a new word, once you understand the meaning, immediately try to use that word contextually in your day-to-day speech on that same day. That will increase the possibility that the word will remain in your memory for a longer time. ठीक है? So there are 5 main types of questions that we normally come across whenever we are asked questions MCQ format in reading comprehension passages, right? इसके आगे पीछे हो सकता है, but these are the main 5 types of questions which are asked. So the first one, it could be a main idea. What is the main idea of the passage? Or they could be asking you questions which require you to identify specific details, numbers, names, dates from the passage. They might ask you, what is the purpose of the author behind asking these questions? Why has the author made this passage? Why has the author written it? What is he trying to do by writing such a passage? Or they might ask that they have given you an external inference, something outside, and you are asked to check, will this external inference be supported by what is contained within the passage? If the passage is true, then will this extra line also be supported by what is said? And finally, simple vocabulary based questions based on how words are used in the passage. So synonyms, antonyms, so on and so forth. These are the main 5 types of questions that we get. And I'm going to take you through each one of them, showing you what to expect and how the paper setter can actually fool you into marking a wrong answer. What traps you should look for whenever you are dealing with such questions in the exam. So starting with the first one. The one thing which is absolutely necessary when you are doing reading comprehension is to read the entire passage, right? Don't ever read a passage partially and assume that you know the entire passage's content. It is quite possible that the first half of the passage might have something which is totally different from the second half, right? The author might in fact have given you 2 contrasting ideas in the same passage. So it becomes very, very important that you read the entire passage before you take a call on what the passage is. Okay, so look, when you read the passage, look for keywords which get you the theme of the passage. For example, supposing while you are doing it, you come across words like soldiers, enemy, tank, bloodshed, freedom. What do you think the passage is about? When you commonly come across such words, what do you think the passage is about? War, exactly, right? So these words will give you a bare idea that the author is trying to convey about war. Supposing it talks about peace, non-violence, independence, satyagraha, civil disobedience, which person do you think would be a central character in any such passage? It could be mostly about Mahatma Gandhi, right? So keywords play a very important role in identifying what could be the main idea of the entire passage. Obviously, when you are doing this in a paper pen format, it is very easy to make notes. But if you are doing it online and you have the facility of using a blank paper, you can jot down one or two words which you think are the key ideas. Else you will have to develop a habit of remembering words as and when you go about reading the passage. Are we together so far? Did we understand it so far? Main idea of the passage, right? Okay. So here are certain tricks which they can employ to fool you into marking a wrong answer. Sometimes in certain parts of the passage, there may be use of words like but, yet, although, since, except, moreover, unless, nonetheless, however, so on and so forth. Now, as readers of English, we know that these words show a shift in the idea, right? They show a transition, a change in the idea. So, if a question is asking you the main idea of a passage, but the answer is derived from a statement which is using some of these words, then it is quite possible that they have purposely given you a contrary idea and not the main idea. Are you getting what I'm saying? They are asking you the main idea of the passage, but the answer option is derived from a statement which contains some of these words. So then, मन में लाल बत्ती जलनी चाहिए कि भाई कुछ तो लोचा है, ये तो एग्जैक्ट मेन आइडिया नहीं है, ये तो एक्सेप्शन के बारे में शायद ऑथर बात कर रहा था और उसको उन्होंने फूल करने के लिए एज अ मेन आइडिया बिठा दिया है. So pay extra attention to such words. They will help you identify wrong answers. And it is very, very important to be able to eliminate wrong answers in reading comprehension, right? Don't worry, Jill, I'm going to show you. I'll give you examples. I'm going to give examples for everything that I'm talking. Just wait, right? So what I'm saying is maths, GK, analytical reasoning, इनमें एक ही सही आंसर होता है. That means if the first option itself is correct, you can mark it and move ahead. You need not read everything. Lekin, when it comes to things like English, like verbal reasoning, even legal aptitude for law aspirants, it is not necessary that only one answer is correct. It is possible that more than one option may be right, in which case you have to identify which is the best possible option, because you cannot mark multiple answers in the paper. एक से ज्यादा ऑप्शन आप मार्क नहीं कर सकते, राइट? सो एक से ज्यादा ऑप्शन अगर सही हो तो विच इज द बेटर अमंग द राइट ऑप्शंस you will need to come across. So we'll be doing a lot of examples today where I'll be showing you how you can eliminate certain answers which may seem right but yet is not acceptable as the final answer. Right? Are we together on this? Shashwat says, moreover is not adding point rather than contrast. It again depends on how it is used, right? How it is used. In English, there are more rules than exceptions. And a good writer can actually show you certain things using words which seem contrary or contrary ideas by words which seem as if they are adding. So you need to be very careful. Don't get fooled by words. Don't assume that the standard meaning applies. The way the author has used the words should actually matter. I hope that makes sense. Yes, Gautam. Yes, Gautam, that's exactly what I'm going to teach today. When options look same, what exactly is the question paper setter expecting you to mark? That's exactly what we are going to talk about today, right? Chalo. So, wrong answers के कुछ characteristics मैं आपको बता दूं. 1. A wrong answer may be too broad. They may have asked, in which city was Gandhi born? And the answer, one of the options would be, Gandhi was born in the city of Porbandar. He was married to Kasturba and Sardar Patel was his best friend. Question में ये सारे details बिल्कुल नहीं पूछे. Right? So that answer may not be a good answer. They are simply expecting you to answer one specific detail. If you give more than one detail in the answer, एक आंसर में बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल्स हैं और दूसरे आंसर में सिर्फ इतना है कि गांधी वॉज बॉर्न इन पोरबंदर, देन ऑब्वियसली डोंट गो फॉर द क्वेश्चन विच हैज एक्स्ट्रानस डिटेल्स. Right? That is absolutely not required. Go for an option which precisely answers the question. So any option which contains जरूरत से ज्यादा data, that has to be eliminated. First thing. Second, sometimes opposite भी हो सकता है. पूछा कुछ है और जवाब limited दिया है. They ask, which are in how many jails was Mahatma Gandhi sentenced? And one of the options says Gandhiji's first imprisonment was in the Aga Khan Palace. Right? क्वेश्चन में पूछा है मल्टीपल जगहों का नाम देना है और एक ऑप्शन सिर्फ एक जगह का नाम दे रहा है. देन ऑब्वियसली दैट इज नॉट इंक्लूडिंग ऑल द डिटेल्स. इट इज टू नैरो. इट डज नॉट कंप्लीटली आंसर द क्वेश्चन एंड हेंस सच एन ऑप्शन कैन ऑल्सो बी एलिमिनेटेड. यस, सो एनी ऑप्शन विच इज जरूरत से ज्यादा या एनी ऑप्शन विच इज जरूरत से कम, both of them need to be eliminated. Then sometimes they may give you an answer which is very nicely worded but totally irrelevant to the question that is asked. And one of my classic favorite phrases, one of my classic questions is this. Like, I ask many students, do you know what is the time right now? Do you know what time it is? And if a student tells me, okay, sir, it is 6:50, sir, it is 7 p.m., then their answer is wrong. Because I did not ask you what is the time, right? I did not ask you what is the time. I asked you, do you know what the time is? So the only two possible answers could be yes or no. Some of you might be fooled to thinking कि 7:30 तो बजे हैं तो मैंने बोला तो सही. No, मैंने आपसे ये नहीं पूछा कि टाइम कितना हुआ है. मैंने पूछा कि आपको पता है टाइम कितना है, तो या तो हाँ कहोगे या ना कहोगे. So you have to be very careful in checking whether the given option is actually relevant in answering the question. Similarly, any option which contradicts given facts in the passage, it is simply giving you wrong data, then obviously that particular question is totally useless, right? Wrong data अगर वो देता है, facts के अंदर दिया गया है कि गांधी जी was married to कस्तूरबा, ऑप्शन बोलता है गांधी जी was a bachelor and was never married. It is distorting facts. So such an option you cannot mark. And obviously any option that is illogical, right, it is not supported by the facts of the passage, you obviously have to eliminate such answers, right? So I'm going to actually give you a passage and ekdam chota passage hai. The question obviously is, what is the main idea of this passage? So I want you to first read this passage. It should take about 30 seconds. Then I will ask you the question and we'll take a look at the options and decide which is the best one to mark. I'll give you about 30 seconds. Read this passage first. Remember, main idea of the passage is the point. Okay. Chalo. So I'll now read out the passage aloud and I'll show you what is going in my mind when I'm reading the passage, right? When you are reading it, obviously you're just reading it. But how are you supposed to be reading this? Okay. In criminal cases, the availability of readable fingerprints is often critical in establishing evidence of a major crime. Okay. Fingerprints important for solving crimes. Okay. It is necessary, therefore, to follow proper procedures when taking fingerprints. Okay. Fingerprints important for solving crimes. Necessary to follow proper procedures. Last, in major cases, prints should be obtained from all persons who may have touched areas associated with the crime scene for elimination purposes. So I have identified that there are 3 specific details. First detail says that fingerprints help me solve crime. So it is important to properly take fingerprints, and the procedure includes taking everybody's fingerprints so that I can eliminate the people who are supposed to be there. ये 3 major ideas हैं जो passage के अंदर हैं, right? मेरे mind में है. Now I am taking a look at the question. It says, what is the main idea of the passage? So now take a look at the 4 options and tell me which among these is the best one to represent the main idea of the passage. Okay. So like I said, when I was reading the passage, I identified 3 main points. So whenever I want to choose an answer, I need to make sure that all the 3 points are in one way or the other included in the answer. Pehla option. It says the main idea of the paragraph is that because fingerprints are so important in many cases, it is important to follow the correct course in taking them. So two major ideas to ye support kar raha hai. It very well says that fingerprint is important for cases, and whenever you are taking them, it is important to follow the procedure in taking them. So major ideas to isne cover kiya hai. It does not talk about why fingerprints are used for elimination, but ठीक है चलो, it is वो specific reason for importance है, right? So A maybe, but I cannot mark without checking the other options. So let's check the other options. Second option says all fingerprints found at the crime scene should be taken and thoroughly investigated. This answer does not in any way tell me that fingerprints are important. It says fingerprints को लेके इन्वेस्टिगेट करो, बट क्राइम सॉल्व करने में वो इंपॉर्टेंट है, जो पहला आइडिया है उसको तो ये टैकल ही नहीं कर रहा है. सो बी आई विल क्लियरली एलिमिनेट, इट कैनॉट बी माई आंसर. थर्ड वन, it says if incorrect procedure is followed in gathering fingerprints, the ones taken may be useless. Again, this option does not address the fact, the very first idea, that fingerprints are important for solving cases. This only talks about the second line, that procedures are important. So C also does not make sense. Last one. The first step in investigating fingerprint is to eliminate those of non-suspects. भाई ये तो एग्जाम्पल था कि फिंगरप्रिंट्स को लेते वक्त प्रोसीजर क्यों फॉलो करना है. दिस इज नॉट द मेन आइडिया ऑफ द पैसेज, राइट? द मेन आइडिया इज दैट वन, fingerprints are important for solving crimes, and two, to take fingerprints, you must always follow the correct procedure. So B, C, and D, none of them address the point that why that fingerprints are actually important for solving crimes. It's only option A which is taking that into consideration, and hence option A is my right answer. Guys, are we together on this? Are we together on this? Did you understand how systematically I eliminated 3 of the options? Even when so this also brings me to a very important point. When reading the passage, I already knew what I was supposed to be identifying. I was picking up the main ideas from each line. How could I have done that? Simple. Read the questions first. Right? Many people ask, sir, पहले question पढ़ना चाहिए या पहले passage पढ़ना चाहिए? Very simple. Read the questions first. ऑप्शंस को भले ना देखो, बट कम से कम सारे क्वेश्चंस को एक बार एक नजर मार लो, सो दैट यू गेट अ फेयर आइडिया ऑफ व्हाट यू आर एक्सपेक्टेड टू डू इन द पैसेज. एंड वंस यू नो व्हाट यू आर लुकिंग फॉर, when you read the passage, your mind automatically will start searching for the answers. If you read the passage without reading the questions first, then you are blank. आप passage पे ध्यान दे रहे हो, but passage को करना क्या है? Am I looking for ideas? Am I looking for author's purpose? Am I looking for specific details? कुछ नहीं पता. And each time you read the passage for a different type of question, your manner of reading is different. So the very first trick is read the questions first, right? You get a sense what you are searching for in the passage, and then go through the individual points in the passage. So by the time you have read the passage, you more or less are also in a position to answer the questions. Yes, I hope everybody has got this first point. Now, तीर्थ, none of these generally ऐसे points के अंदर वो नहीं देंगे, because it is a very challengeable option. If I take a look at option A, right, although I said there were 3 points, but the third point, that fingerprints of local people must be taken for elimination, it's a part of the procedure. So you can very well argue that even if the third point is not included, it automatically comes under procedure, right? It automatically comes under why fingerprints are important. So it is implicitly included. So आपको ऐसा कोई ऑप्शन नहीं देंगे जहां पे A भी होगा, none of these भी होगा, because A definitely is the right answer, and none of these is going to lead to a lot of trouble. So more often than not, I will show you questions जहां पे none of these answer हो सकता है, but ऐसे चीजों के अंदर none of these नहीं देंगे, because it becomes very controversial. I hope you got that one. Okay, chalo, very good. But keep asking these questions, right? Very good. Chalo. The second type of question is known as the specific detail question. Now, स्कूल में जो RCs होते थे, मोस्टली वो स्पेसिफिक डिटेल्स क्वेश्चंस होते थे. किसी बंदे का नाम ढूंढना है, कोई पर्टिकुलर नंबर ढूंढना है, कोई पर्टिकुलर डेट फाइंड करना है. यू जस्ट पिक दोज थिंग्स. सो क्या करते थे हम, क्वेश्चन को पढ़ते थे, इन विच ईयर वॉज गांधी बॉर्न, सो यू नो यू आर लुकिंग फॉर वर्ड्स विच इंक्लूड मंथ एंड ईयर. तो पैसेज को ध्यान दिए बिना सिर्फ ऊपर से नजर घुमाते थे, जहां पे मंथ एंड ईयर दिखा वो लाइन पढ़ लिया, कंफर्म किया कि यही आंसर है एंड चेप दिया. राइट, here you don't need to understand the meaning of the entire passage because you are only looking for specific details. So when trying to answer such a question, you have to identify what word are you looking for. Supposing the question is, in which place did this happen? Then obviously you're looking for either the name of a city, state or country, something like that. When did it happen? You're looking for something related to time or date, right? So reading the question for specific detail, you have to identify what type of word do you think should be there in the passage which can answer this question. If it's a straightforward question or fact, it's a direct question from the text, तो जो word जिस passage में है वो पूरा वो जिस line में है उस line को पढ़ोगे, most probably answer वहां से मिल जाएगा. But still read the entire passage. Even for specific detailed questions, sometimes they may have said something in the first line and contradicted it later. And आपको जो question पूछा है वो contradiction पूछ रहा है. So then you might be fooled into answering the initial part if you have not read the passage. So even for specific detailed questions, it is not wrong to read the entire passage so that you are sure whatever you are marking is absolutely right. And finally, it is necessary to get a sense of what is the main idea of the passage, because that will help you precisely answer the specific details questions in the passage itself. Right? So strategies are, some words will be, there will be a keyword or a phrase, right? In school exams, it could be the word itself, but in entrance exams, it might not be the same word. It could be a synonym. It could be an idiom or a phrase which means the same thing. And here's where your command over vocabulary matters. For example, the question asks, what was the bias, right? You are searching for the word bias, but the passage does not use the word bias. Passage mein they have used the word prejudice. Now, unless you realize that the word bias and prejudice can be used interchangeably, you should not worry. I mean, you should be careful. So that's why vocabulary is very important. Like, for example, you know, what was the bias shown by the person, ऐसा कुछ क्वेश्चन है, तो आपको लगता है कि bias word passage में यूज किया होगा, but sometimes they may not have used the word bias at all. They might have written he was prejudiced against dark skinned people, right? If you realize that the word prejudiced against also is synonymous to having a bias against something, you will be able to mark the answer, right? So bias की जगह पे उसका synonym having a prejudice is used. So even for specific detailed questions, vocabulary is very important, because entrance exams they are trying to check whether you can understand the meaning even for such specific detailed type questions. Are we together on this? Did we get that? So never ever make the mistake of answering reading comprehension passages without going through the entire passage completely at least once. Some questions will simply ask you to identify whether the statement is correct from the options. Again, like we did in the previous thing, if you should be able to eliminate the other options. Don't simply mark the right one, but make sure that you have comfortably eliminated the other options. So this brings us to our second important strategy point. Like I said, read the questions first, then the passage. Similarly, if it is allowed to answer any question in any order in the exam, my strategy is generally to keep reading comprehension passages for the second half or for the end of the time, right? Because I found out कि जीके का एक क्वेश्चन या मैथ्स या रीजनिंग का एक क्वेश्चन आंसर करने में जितना टाइम जाता है, उससे कई गुना ज्यादा एक रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन का सिंगल क्वेश्चन आंसर करने में जाता है, लेकिन मार्क्स दोनों में सेम मिलने वाले हैं. So I will be investing a lot of time in solving a reading comprehension question, but my return marks is not going to be as much. And पहले अगर मैंने RC में बहुत टाइम लगाया, I may fall short of time for solving other questions. So when I open the paper, if it comes, एक नजर घुमाते ही पता चल जाता है कि पैसेजेस थोड़े ज्यादा लंबे हैं, टॉपिक्स बहुत कंफर्टेबल नहीं है, then I will make a conscious decision not to solve reading comprehensions in the beginning or the middle. I will leave it for the later half of the paper. Did you understand that? Right? So in these sessions, I'm also going to keep talking about such strategy points. Whenever you are giving mock tests multiple subject full length tests, make sure you try out these strategies and see what difference it makes, right? So for me, it always makes sense to attempt lengthy reading comprehension passages at the later part of the paper, not in the beginning. The choice ultimately is yours. Okay. So another passage, obviously specific details वाला question होने वाला है इसके basis पे. Generally, I would ask you to read the question first and then solve, but because of limitations, I'm just putting up the passage. I'll give you about a minute to read it. Remember, it is going to be a specific detailed question from this passage. So read it. I'll tell you, Kavya, we most probably will start it in February mid end, depending on when we are able to do a lot of these sessions. Right? Many of them are already given online. वो तो आप दे सकते हो. उसके बाद मेरी तरफ से आपको mid Feb से minimum I think start होगा. Gautam, don't write doubt. Just type what is the doubt. We'll save time that way. Gautam, counseling session is usually with me. I'll be just talking about which exams you can fill in the application form for. If there are any doubts in preparation, I'll be answering that. You just have to register the session and you'll be having a Zoom session one-on-one with me. Oops. Mock full length test Jay. February में full length tests and उसका analysis. इन दी सेशन जो अभी कर रहे हैं हम इन्हीं सेशंस में पेपर आपको दूंगा फिर एनालिसिस सेशन में करवाऊंगा. ओके गाइस, आई होप वी आर डन रीडिंग द पैसेज. Okay, so this is what is the if I were to ask you what exactly is the main idea of this passage. I know it's supposed to be a specific detailed question, but because you have read it, if I ask you to describe what is the core idea of the passage in a single line, what do you think it is about? Yes, Mehak, that's exactly what it is about. No, Zarna, healthcare is a very broad term. Healthcare is a very broad term. It's something more specific. Right? Many people are giving me the right answer. It's more about the use of alternate therapies for curing diseases. It's not just about medicinal therapy. It's not just about medicine, but specifically it's about how alternate therapies are being used. I hope everybody got that, right? So it's more, the entire passage focuses on the alternate therapies. Now, interesting question. According to the passage, which practice would not be defined as alternate medicine? You have got 4 options. Which one of them is not defined as alternate medicine? Pain management, acupuncture, taking herbal garlic supplements, or massage therapy? Now, इस question के अंदर 2 tricks हैं. There are 2 points where you can fall. First, if you have read the question wrongly, आपके मन में यह है कि इनमें से कौन सी ऑल्टरनेटिव थेरेपी है, तो आपने गार्लिक या एक्यूपंक्चर कुछ सिलेक्ट कर दिया, यू विल गेट अ रॉन्ग मार्क फॉर दिस. रीड द क्वेश्चन अगेन. विच प्रैक्टिस वुड नॉट बी डिफाइंड एज ऑल्टरनेट मेडिसिन? तो इन 4 में से 3 चीजें हैं जो ऑल्टरनेटिव मेडिसिन हैं, और वो मेरा आंसर नहीं है. एक चीज जो ऑल्टरनेट मेडिसिन नहीं है वो मेरा आंसर है, राइट? So the passage begins with the use of garlic supplements And near the end, it definitely talks about acupuncture. In fact, even in the middle, it talks about acupuncture and massage therapy. Right? For your reference, guys, I'm going to go back to the passage. Take a look at the fourth line. Second passage, complementary से जहां start होता है. Complementary and alternate medicines, which include a range of practices outside of conventional medicine like herbs, homeopathy, massage therapy, yoga, and acupuncture. गार्लिक तो ऑलरेडी ऑल्टरनेट थेरेपी में फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में आ गया है. सेकेंड पैराग्राफ में क्लियरली दे हैव मेंशन्ड मसाज थेरेपी एंड एक्यूपंक्चर आर यूज्ड एज ऑल्टरनेट मेडिसिन. अब आप कहोगे कि पेन मैनेजमेंट भी इंक्लूडेड है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, नीचे से जो थर्ड लाइन है, एकदम बॉटम ऑफ द पैसेज से जो थर्ड लाइन है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, फिजिशियंस में करंटली प्रिस्क्राइब एक्यूपंक्चर फॉर पेन मैनेजमेंट. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड हियर पेन मैनेजमेंट इज नॉट द ऑल्टरनेट थेरेपी. Pain management is the problem and acupuncture is the therapy, which is the alternate therapy to solve the problem of pain management. So although pain management is also mentioned in the passage, pain management itself is not the alternate medicine, right? Pain management is the problem for which alternate medicine has to be used. And acupuncture, garlic supplements and massage therapy are all different forms of alternate medicine. So definitely my answer is option A. Did everybody get this one? Right? दो ट्रिक्स. वन, पेन मैनेजमेंट वर्ड तो यूज किया है, लेकिन किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में यूज किया है वो जानना जरूरी है. सेकेंड, नॉट वर्ड क्वेश्चन में है, वो अगर आप स्किप कर गए, यू विल एंड अप मार्किंग द रॉन्ग आंसर. देयर आर टू ट्रैप्स विच द एग्जाम सेटर हैज सेट. Very simple, but जल्दबाजी में we tend to skip these things, and that is where we fall prey to negative marking. So take a deep breath, take a few seconds extra, but make sure that you have in detail read every single point of the question. Chalo. Third type of question is finding the author's purpose. Why has the author written this passage? What is the purpose of the author behind writing this passage? What is the author trying to do through his writing? Right? And I don't know whether you guys have heard this joke, but it's a description. For example, a writer has written, the curtains were blue. And teacher, English teacher होती है, वो class में students को पूछती है कि what is the author trying to convey? एंड कोई एक स्टूडेंट होता है एकदम हाई फाई किसी बोर्ड का, हु आई डोंट नो विच बोर्ड, बट एकदम डिस्क्रिप्टिव, बोलता है ब्लू इज द कलर ऑफ डिप्रेशन एंड ब्लू इज द कलर ऑफ मेलैंकोली. सो द ऑथर इज ट्राइंग टू कन्वे हिज डिप्रेस्ड स्टेट ऑफ माइंड एंड हाउ ही इज इन अ लो मेंटल स्टेट एंड ब्ला 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 ब्ला. एंड टीचर वाह 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 ताली बजा के उसको फुल मार्क्स देती है. दूसरा जो ढ स्टूडेंट होता है क्लास में, वो he hunts down the author and asks him, भाई, why did you write that the curtains were blue? And the author says, because the curtains were blue. I like the color, I wrote blue. Red पसंद होता तो red लिख देता. Right? Sometimes we try to make something out of something, but that is not what is happening in entrance exams. Here we are trying to find out what the author is trying to convey beyond what is written. So there are a lot of clue words, right? I'm going to give you a list of words, and all these things are in your textbook, so you need not write them, but pay attention to what I'm saying. You can refer to them in the book later. Specific words always give you a fair idea of what is the intention behind the passage, right? So figuring out why an author wrote at a particular passage can be easy or difficult depending on whether you understand these clue words and how to identify them, right? So what could be some of the common reasons behind writing a passage? Let's take them one by one along with the contextual clues. One, the author could be trying to compare two things, right? Maybe the author is trying to describe the Covaxin and the other vaccine, जो दो अलग vaccines India में हैं. Maybe he's trying to compare. Maybe he's trying to compare the merits and demerits between a petrol engine and a diesel engine. Maybe he's trying to compare the education system between India and US. So whenever the author is trying to compare two things, he wants to show a similarity between the ideas. The contextual clue words which will normally be seen are things like both, similarly, in the same way, like, just as, right? Poetry में हम simile and metaphor पढ़ते हैं, right? Comparisons. So whenever the author uses things which are simile in nature or metaphorical in nature, then we are trying to compare two things, find out the similar things, then the purpose of the author is simple comparison. The opposite of that is contrast, right? Instead of saying what is same, the author between two things is trying to identify how are they different from each other. So in that case, the contextual words could be things like however, but, dissimilarly, on the other hand, right? In India, education is cheap. On the other hand, it is not extensive, right? So contrast between two ideas. You want to show how one thing is different from the other. Then these are the contextual clue words that you can be looking at. Whenever the author wants to show something in a negative light, किसी के बारे में बुराई करनी है, we call it criticism, right? If the author wants to give a negative opinion of an idea, the clue words could be negative opinion related words, judgmental words which are in negative light. Things like bad, wasteful, poor, right? These are all very simple words, but they are definitely not used to praise somebody. In fact, we always come across such words whenever a poor opinion about something or someone is being given. So the presence of negative opinion wale words is usually a clue that the author is trying to criticize an idea. Now, sometimes the author is only trying to describe or illustrate something, right? In fact, many novelists, they are excellent in description. Even when you're reading the passage, the way they write, you actually can form the image in your mind. Their words are enough to paint a picture. So, when the author wants to paint the picture or an idea in your mind, then words are descriptive. Adjectives and adverbs, right? Adjectives are words which describe the quality of nouns. Adverbs are words which describe the qualities of actions. So descriptive words, it could be red, lusty, morose, striped, sparkling. All these are just showing some quality of either an object, a person, or an activity. So such descriptive words, when they are used liberally, when they are not just one or two, but they are used multiple times, then the main purpose of the author could be to describe something or to illustrate something. Now, explanation. Classic example, school textbooks, right? In school textbooks, you are learning something. So the author will always try to break down possibly a complex ideas into simpler terms, right? If they start talking about just photosynthesis, तो by reading the word photosynthesis, बचपन में हमको कुछ समझ में नहीं आया होगा. But they explain it in simple terms. There is a green color substance in plants. The name of this substance is chlorophyll. When sunlight falls, it converts this into that. Explain detail में simple words के साथ करते हैं. And then you understand, oh, this entire process is known as photosynthesis. So, whenever descriptive text is used, right? Whenever a complicated idea is being explained using simple words, then the purpose of the author is just to explain concepts. Identifying or listing is when the author is not trying to go into details, but is going to give examples of multiple things. And this is very popular these days on social media. 21 most important gadgets to work from home. 15 best actresses in Bollywood. The 10 top destination spots in India, right? It's simply a list of different things. So when the author wants to tell the reader about an idea or a series of ideas, what they're trying to do is identify or make a list of things, and text which simply is in the form of a list, itemized, step one after another, will clearly by format itself tell you that what you are looking at is the author is trying to identify or list something. Now, sometimes the author is trying to intensify something. Concept शायद बहुत बड़ा नहीं है, लेकिन the author is trying to exaggerate. The author wants to make a small thing also look big. For example, अगर हमारे पास बहुत लोड है पढ़ाई का, राइट? तो सादे में तो हम कह सकते हैं कि I have to study a lot. But we sometimes exaggerate to make others feel कि we are doing so much मेहनत. कोई ये कहेगा सारी दुनिया की पढ़ाई मुझे करनी पड़ रही है. Obviously, you're not studying even a fraction of the entire world's education. but we just exaggerate, right? To make people think, realize that we are doing something which is extreme, right? मैं तुमको पता है खून पसीना निकला है उतनी देर तक मैं प्रैक्टिस करता रहा. Obviously, nobody is going to practice till you bleed generally, but it's just an expression, right? So when the author wants to exaggerate something, that they're trying to intensify an idea. So here, try to look for words which are superlative, right? We talk about the positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. Simple description में positive words होंगे. This is a good boy. Comparison between two things में comparative degree होगा. A is better than B. लेकिन अगर एग्जैजरेट करना है तो यूजुअली सुपरलेटिव्स वर्ड्स यूज करेंगे. X is the best student in the entire college, right? So anything which uses superlative could be for intensification of an idea. Yes, like Namra's correctly given me an example. I'm buried under the mountain of books. भाई इतने लाइफ में आपने किताबें नहीं पढ़ी होंगी कि आप उसके नीचे दब जाओ, लेकिन you want to intensify, you want to show that you are doing so much of reading. So how do you express that? For intensification, you'd say, I'm buried under the mountain of books, right? Instead of saying the child was crying, you'll say the child was howling red cheeks for hours together. Bada chada ke keh rahe hain. That is intensification. Exactly. Like simile and metaphor for comparison in poetry, we call this hyperbole, right? Hyperbole is when you exaggerate something to intensify an idea. Very good, Shashwat. Okay. If the author is trying to suggest something, then the author actually wants to propose some idea and make sure that you agree to it. If he wants to convince you for something, he wants to make sure that you agree to his idea. That means he's trying to make a suggestion. So here, whenever you see a lot of positive opinions being given about an idea or a person, then more often than not, the author is actually trying to suggest that this is good for you. Like आप IQ आइडियाज में एनरोल करते हो तो ऑब्वियसली मैं कभी भी ये नहीं कहूंगा कि नहीं बच्चे फेल हो जाएंगे ये वो. आई विल ऑलवेज टेल यू दी पॉजिटिव थिंग्स बिकॉज आई वांट टू सजेस्ट दैट यू शुड ज्वाइन. सो कैसी चीज़ें कोई भी सेल्समैन कहेगा कि आवर प्रोडक्ट इज सो नाइस, it is so cost effective, it is still going to give you best results, right? And that is normal because that's exactly how you sell a service or a product, right? So think of salesmen. They are trying to suggest that this is good for you, right? So whenever a lot of positive description is given for something, then the purpose of the author could be to suggest an idea. Okay, so purpose of the author question, क्या passage ये है? 30 seconds, read it. Then we will try to identify what is the purpose of something, right? Remember, the question is going to be related to purpose in this passage. Not exactly, Jheel. Sort of, yes. Sort of. Yes, Devesh, that is better. Yeah, even Shubhankar and Zarna have given me a better answer. Jheel, you're not totally wrong, but if you're looking at the entire passage as one unit, then there is a better author's purpose here. Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is, in general, what is that author's purpose? The moment you read, the last gleams of twilight were melting into the night. The constellation shone with wonderful intensity, right? There's a lot of description given. And of course, he's also exaggerating everything in a positive manner. So it is a descriptive passage for sure. And he's trying to positively show some things for experience. Itna to basic idea aa gaya, right? But that is not the exact question, right? It is not the exact question. That overall passage kya hai? ओवरऑल पैसेज के बारे में पूछा होता, आंसर वुड हैव बीन दैट ही इज ट्राइंग टू डिस्क्राइब समथिंग, इट्स अ डिस्क्रिप्टिव पैसेज. बट दिस इज द एक्चुअल क्वेश्चन. द ऑथर्स डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द टेम्परेचर primarily serves to what? चार options हैं. The author has mentioned temperature in a particular place. What is the reason behind mentioning that? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the passage to look at temperature वाला line क्या है. Fifth line. The thermometer showed 12 degrees below zero, and when the wind freshened, it was most biting. We have already identified that the passage is descriptive in nature, right? And let's take a look at the options. Is he trying to explain the hardships that the boatmen were about to go through? Maybe, maybe not. If he wanted to talk about the hardships which the boatmen are about to suffer, he may have included some negative things that they will experience. But the passage in general is not talking about anything negative in particular. So his purpose may not be to show that they're going through hardship. So A may not be my answer. B, to intensify the setting so that the reader can experience the boatman's difficult journey. And we have already seen that one of the purposes of having something descriptive is so that you can imagine the whole thing. It is for the author is describing in detail so that the reader in his mind experiences what the author is trying to convey. So हो सकता है कि B मेरा आंसर है, लेकिन मैं B को अभी मार्क नहीं करूंगा, बाकी के दो को देखेंगे. To compare differences between boatmen who have experienced hardship and those who haven't. पूरे पैसेज में कहीं पे भी मुझे कंपैरिजन का कोई सेंस नहीं मिला. And D, identifying the cause of the temperature decrease. It is not a explanation type passage कि temperature किसकी वजह से decrease हुआ, right? We clearly identified two things. Some of you said it is a descriptive passage. Some of you said they are trying to intensify ideas. Both of them ultimately is so that the reader gets a feel of what is happening. So the best possible answer is definitely B. Are we together on that? Yes, Shashwat has given me a very good analysis also in detail. Excellent. So Shashwat, I hope that's the process in your mind that अभी तो मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन ओरली दे रहा हूँ, सो इट इज टेकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम टू सॉल्व. बट एग्जाम के अंदर विद इनफ प्रैक्टिस ये एक क्वेश्चन विद द पैसेज 2.5 minutes फ्लैट, लेस देन 2 minutes में यू शुड बी एबल टू रीड द पैसेज, गो थ्रू ऑल द ऑप्शंस, एलिमिनेट एंड मार्क द करेक्ट वन. बराबर 6. ओके, सो the next type of question is inference based question. I have done a lot of verbal reasoning examples with you, and verbal reasoning में inference based questions बहुत common होते हैं. Reading comprehension के अंदर भी inference based question हो सकते हैं. So inference based questions are not directly in the passage, but inference based question mean if the passage follows a certain idea, then which option will also be agreeable to the same idea. ऑथर अगर पैसेज के अंदर एक सर्टन टाइप ऑफ थिंकिंग बताता है, तो इन्फ्रेंस का मतलब क्या है कि इन एक्स्ट्रा ऑप्शंस में से भी कौन सा ऑप्शन होगा जो ऑथर के थॉट प्रोसेस को मैच करता है. सो एन इन्फ्रेंस इज नॉट नेसेसरली फ्रॉम द पैसेज, बट इट इज समथिंग विच इज सपोर्टेड बाय द पैसेज. सो लाइक आई सेड, इन्फ्रेंसेस आर नॉट एक्सप्लिसिटली इन द पैसेज, right? Inference are more like conclusions from whatever data is there in the passage. So you have to understand the logic of the author. You have to understand what the author will agree with, what he may not agree with, and then you have to go through the options to identify which is the best possible answer. So Siddharth asks, how vague or specific can the inference be? See, if there are multiple options which seem to be derived from the passage, then the more specific it is in being derived from the passage, the better it will be, right? If you feel that there are multiple inferences in the options which all can be derived from the passage, then obviously the one which is more specific to the ideas in the passage is a better choice. Vague answers which are too broad, right? Remember originally मैंने कहा था vague answers sometimes may fall under the category of being too broad. उसी तरह बहुत ज्यादा स्पेसिफिक डिटेल्स के साथ अगर आंसर दिया है, इट मे फॉल अंडर द कैटेगरी ऑफ बीइंग टू नैरो. So this is where the knowledge of reading comes, right? This is not formula based like mathematics or reasoning जहां पे आप formula लगाओगे आंसर मिल जाएगा. They are exactly testing, do you have the ability to understand the written word? Because whether it is a field like management or communication or law, a lot of interpretation of the written word is a part of your syllabus. So you need to be the judge of what is exactly accurate. There is no hardcore parameter which says ये सही है ये गलत है, right? You have to be the judge कि from the given options question को answer करने वाला सबसे best option कौन सा है. So inference questions are about critical thinking and reading. चलो, let's put it to test. Passage and then I'll show you the questions. Author's purpose is, why has the author written this passage? What is the author trying to do to the reader? Inference means if the author has written this in the passage, will he also agree to this particular point? For example, if the author is writing about Mahatma Gandhi is a great person, Mahatma Gandhi is non-violent, I appreciate what Mahatma Gandhi did for freedom of India. And options may answer a question hai, which of these things will the author not agree with? And one of the options says the author will not agree with the violence which happened in Washington DC last week. Right? So the passage has nothing to do with Washington DC riots, but the passage shows that the author likes non-violence. He's not a fan of violence. So then, can I infer that he will not be supportive of the violence in Washington DC? That is inference. His purpose is to show you that violence is not good. Inference is that he will say Washington DC violence was bad. Did you get the difference, Shashwat? One is what he's trying to do with you. Second, what he himself will agree with based on what is given in the passage. Tone of the author and purpose. Not exactly. See, tone could be words like he's critical, he is appreciative, he is descriptive. And purpose is he's trying to convince you, he's trying to criticize something, right? Tone means what type of language he's using. And purpose is what is the result that he wants to happen to the reader. So tone and purpose are two different things. The tone could be descriptive. The purpose could be to convince you. Okay, guys. So this passage, a very technical passage, right? It seems about a lot of numbers in it, and it talks about planets and stars and phalana and dhimkana. Now let's take a look at the question. You'll be surprised what the question is. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage? If you got the overall sense of what the author is trying to do in the passage, you can answer this question. Almost everybody is getting it right. I'm so happy. पहला लोचा हर्षय लोचू ख्वाहिश 3 ऑप्शन है ABC, उसी में से देना. इतना लंबा चौड़ा तो मेरे को चाहिए ही नहीं. स्पेसिफिकली क्या इन्फर कर सकते हैं फ्रॉम द 3 गिवन ऑप्शंस इज व्हाट यू हैव टू डू. ओके, सो पूरे पैसेज का इन्फ्रेंस इज मोर और लेस द समरी ऑफ द पैसेज. नाउ लेट्स गो बैक टू द पैसेज. Is it talking about what exoplanets should be like? Is it talking about how much temperature is there in terms of Fahrenheit in stars and stuff? Or it's simply trying to explain the relation between mass and temperature? Exoplanet, Jupiter, टेम्परेचर, ये सारी चीजें सिर्फ एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए यूज की गई हैं. अल्टीमेटली द ऑथर इज सिंपली ट्राइंग टू एक्सप्लेन हाउ द मास ऑफ अ प्लैनेट अफेक्ट्स इट्स टेम्परेचर. जुपिटर का मास ज्यादा है लेकिन इतना ज्यादा नहीं है, इसलिए वो स्टार के जैसा नहीं हो सकता, वो प्लैनेट रह जाता है, एक्सो प्लैनेट्स ऐसे हैं. ये सारे एक्सप्लेनेशन है, बट द कोर आइडिया that he is trying to put across, right? What the author is fundamentally trying to say is that planet का जो mass है उस पे डिपेंड करता है कि कोर के टेम्परेचर के साथ क्या होगा. Everything else is only to give examples of this. So can we all agree that option C is my best answer? The entire passage is not about what you can expect exoplanets to be. It is not whether stars will be of a certain temperature, but generally what he is trying to say is mass and temperature का कोई relation है in general. That's it. So that is the inference which is the best one in the passage. Are we together? Did you get this? Right? Okay. Chalo. Moving on. So the last type of question before we take big examples, vocabulary based questions. Right? तो यहाँ पे obviously you need to practice your synonyms, antonyms, idioms and phrases, but always make sure that you understand in what context the word has been used. For example, you might be asked, what is the meaning of the word spring as used in the passage? अब spring के तो multiple meanings हो सकते हैं. Spring could be the season. Spring could be description of a vegetable. Spring could be a flowing body of water. Spring could be the motion of jumping up and down. Spring could be the mechanical device used in pens and stuff, right? तो पैसेज के अंदर जो वर्ड स्प्रिंग यूज किया गया है उसका मीनिंग क्या है वो जानने के लिए यू विल हैव टू रीड द पैसेज, राइट? सो इवन व्हेन vocabulary based questions are asked, please don't make the mistake of directly answering the question because you know the word. Make sure that the word is used in that exact sense in the passage and then mark the answer. Because examiners are very tricky. Sometimes they may have used the word in a different context in the passage. And vocabulary में general meaning कुछ और होगा, लेकिन contextually passage के अंदर कुछ और हो सकता है. So make sure you understand the context under which it is used and then mark the right answer. For example, the word inundate. Now, if you're good at vocabulary, you will know what inundate directly means. But first, make sure that it is used in the same sense. And even if you don't know the meaning of this word, if you read the passage, you will get a sense of what it could mean. 30 seconds. Okay. So inundate, fourth line में है. Not only was he assisting the bank tellers with their work, but his new boss had decided to inundate him with other tasks like creating a security system, managing the bank deposit and refund, securing loan, maintaining their daily operation. The new manager was exhausted as he locked up the bank for the night. What is happening? If the boss is inundating him and multiple tasks are given, because of which he's getting tired at the end of the day, so obviously inundate का मतलब has to be overload. Even if you don't read the passage, but you know the meaning of the word inundate, you will realize inundate does mean to overload. But you should make it a point to read the passage and identify that it has been used in the same context. Right? So inundate definitely means to overload in this passage. None of the other options will contextually make any sense. Are we together on this, guys? बढ़िया है. So, just a quick recap of strategies before we do some examples. One, obviously, read the question so that you know what you are going to look for. Then read the passage. When you are solving it, don't just read one option. If it seems right, then mark it. Make sure you read all the options and eliminate the wrong ones. And only after that, when you're sure that 3 out of 4 options are definitely wrong, that you will decide that yes, the last one which is left, the last man standing, is the correct one. हम साथ साथ हैं. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send a PDF file, right? I've already sent it to one batch. I have sent a PDF file to some more students, and I am sending the PDF file to yet another batch of students. So why I'm sending you this PDF? I'm going to put up the same thing on screen, right? But sometimes you might want to refer to the passage again when we are doing the questions, right? So that's why the same passage will be on the screen, but it is also sent to you as PDF, right? It's your choice whether you want to read it from the screen, you want to read it from the passage. Questions are not given in that PDF, questions are only on the screen, right? So let's do the first one. Take a look at it, understand it, then we will solve the questions. Shashwat, yes. Shashwat's question is, exams which are online, are we allowed to note points on paper? Yes, all the online exams which I have given so far, they definitely give you rough page at the center. They will take away the rough page at the end of the exam, but during the exam, so far, they have always provided rough page. Because it's too much to expect to do everything orally. For at least maths type questions, so rough page की जरूरत पड़ेगी ही पड़ेगी. The only thing you need to be careful is sometimes they might give you only limited amount of pages. So you have to make sure your handwriting is small and you can reuse it. But rough page is definitely provided. Are we done, guys? Okay. I think there are 3 questions, right? So before I go ahead, if there are any specific words that you did not understand, you can ask, because vocabulary important है. तो कुछ word या कोई sentence समझ में नहीं आया तो वो पहले सीख लेते हैं, वो पूछ लो. Which words did anybody come across a word that they did not understand? Debris. Okay, debris का मतलब है एक्सीडेंट होने के बाद जो कच्चड़ रहता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड डेब्रीज. या एकदम अगर कोई टॉर्नेडो वावाझोड़ू आता है तो नुकसान करता है, तो नुकसान के बाद जो सब कचरा होता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड डेब्रीज. अनफिल्टर्ड इज, भाई इंस्टाग्राम के जमाने में नो फिल्टर का मतलब, फिल्टर मीन्स समथिंग विच कम्स इन बिटवीन. अनफिल्टर्ड इन दो चीजों के बीच में कुछ नहीं है, डायरेक्ट. कमांड मॉड्यूल इज अ small area from which the entire thing is controlled. Fleeting is something which is very quick, something which happens very fast. एक क्षण भर के लिए, like आसमान में टूटता तारा सट्ट करके निकल जाता है. So you just had a fleeting glimpse. एक सेकंड आंखों के सामने आके ओझल हो गया. That is fleeting. Squealed is made a high pitched noise. That is squealing. एकदम high pitched noise जो करते हैं, that is squealing. Yes guys, इतना सब समझ में आ गया? Any other words? Okay. So now before I go to the questions, what do you think this passage is about? What exactly is the scenario going on here? Situation क्या है? Author? हाँ, Priyanka. Very good. यस नम्रा, पार्ट ऑफ इट यस, बट थोड़ा थोड़ा उससे भी ज्यादा है. आदित्य, योर जनरल सेंस में यस, बट नो, इट्स समथिंग मोर स्पेसिफिक देन दैट. हर्षदीप यस, शुभांकर नो. हार्दी, ये तो पहले ही सेंटेंस में आपको मिल गया. ओवरऑल क्या है? ओके, चलो, I'll go through the questions, and through the questions itself we will realize what exactly the passage is talking about. Passage तो मैंने दिया ही है, and the exact word that somebody wanted me to answer, command module, जो 2 बार इस्तेमाल किया गया है, it indicates that this entire thing is dealing with what? Command module. Now, for those who are readers of science fiction and other things, or even watch science fiction series, this word is not something which is new. For those who are interested in astronomy, in space exploration, in following the exploits of ISRO and NASA, you will invariably come across the word command module. A command module is a part of a spacecraft or a shuttle from where you control the movements. And the moment I say that, it becomes obvious option kya hona chahiye, right? Yes, Nishka, right? So command module 2 बार इस्तेमाल किया है. So it gives you the idea. It's not about an alarming journey, because that is too broad. It is not about a commanding situation, because the word command here does not mean having a command over the situation. Command module is literally the name given for the place from which you control a spaceship. And it is nothing to do with a battle. Although the word debris is generally used even in war, but here there is nothing which indicates that some sort of war has taken place. लेकिन लास्ट के 2 लाइंस को अगर आप ढंग से समझो, look at the last two lines. Even after the fiery re-entry, splashing down in 81-degree water in South Pacific. Fiery re-entry का मतलब क्या है? You are on fire and you are re-entering. And the word re-entry, where is it used? The word re-entry is always used for space shuttles coming back from space. And obviously when shuttles come back from space, we have seen so many videos which shows that they are on fire, right? Vehicle पे आग कब लगी होती है? Usually when a vehicle like a space shuttle is re-entering from space into the atmosphere, it is on fire and splashing into South Pacific. South Pacific is a sea. And which vehicle is on fire and enters and splashes into the water body? So obviously it's a spaceship. So that should give a clear idea that they are talking about a mission in which the people are coming back from space and they have landed in the waters, right? Did everybody get this? So this entire passage is related to spaceships re-entry from space to Earth. इतना अगर समझ में आ गया, एंड अब वापस एक बार आप पैसेज को देखोगे तो थिंग्स विल स्टार्ट मेकिंग मोर सेंस. Yes, it is coming back to Earth. It is re-entry word is always used when the shuttle comes from space to Earth. And finally it says they splashed in the South Pacific. So it is not description about going out of Earth. It is a description of coming back to Earth. Option is not wrong. Which one? Shashwat? Yes, Mehak, I agree with you, but it's important. It is stating journey in outer space. Yeah, that is the answer. C is the answer. This entire thing is about journey into outer space and the return. The overall thing is about outer space. The description is the coming back. But overall, it is about journey and space. Yes, Aditya. To go into the command module. Yes. ठीक है. एंड एक और चीज देखो, शावर ऑफ डिब्रीज, द मून लूमिंग क्लोज एंड बिग. चांद आपके पास कब हो सकता है? जब आप स्पेस में हो. ऑन अर्थ द मून कैन नेवर कम क्लोज. इट्स ओनली इन स्पेस दैट द मून कैन बी क्लोजर टू यू, राइट? दैट इज ऑल्सो. एंड एक और चीज है, डैजलिंग सन. चलो, लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन विच विल गिव यू वन मोर हिंट व्हाई इट इज अबाउट स्पेस जर्नी. चलो, The third question actually is that, but let's solve the second and then we'll go to the third, which gives you one more hint of how it is describing space journey. First, let's answer this. Which of the following reasons would one consider as more as possible for the warning lights to be on? If you logically look at it, even without the passage, you can answer this question. If you logically look at it, even without the passage, you can select the option. लॉजिकली कैसे सोचेंगे? वार्निंग लाइट अगर कोई चीज का चालू हो तो उसका मतलब क्या है? कार आप चला रहे हो, सडनली वार्निंग लाइट चालू होता है, मतलब क्या है? A warning light, the word warning itself is something bad is going to happen and you have to take care. Warning does not happen after the incident. A warning is always required before the incident. एक्सीडेंट होने के बाद वार्निंग देने का कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. वार्निंग का मतलब है कि एक्सीडेंट होने वाला है, खुद को बचा लो. राइट नाउ ऑप्शंस ए एंड डी दोनों को देखो, बोथ ऑफ देम आर इन द सेम लाइन. Shower of debris, the moon looming close and big, both of them are in the same line. So if the warning light is because of the shower of debris, it could also be because of the moon looming close and vice versa. But you can never mark two options together. So both A and D simultaneously get eliminated. Do you agree? Both A and D will be eliminated because अगर A सही है तो D भी करेक्ट है, डी सही है तो ए भी करेक्ट है, लेकिन दो ऑप्शंस कभी भी एक साथ नहीं हो सकते, सो दोनों ही गलत होंगे. ए एंड डी एलिमिनेट हो गया. नाउ जैक चिल्ला रहा था, इसकी वजह से वार्निंग लाइट हुआ कि वार्निंग लाइट आने की वजह से जैक चिल्ला रहा था? ऑब्वियसली जैक वॉज येलिंग दैट देयर वॉज अ वार्निंग लाइट. जैक वॉज रिएक्टिंग टू द वार्निंग लाइट, सो दैट कैनॉट बी माई आंसर. So the only option which makes sense is that a catastrophe was imminent. Imminent means about to happen. A catastrophe, something bad, was about to happen because of which there was some warning light. So if we analyze it, this is the only option which makes sense. Are we together? Okay, A and D को एक साथ हमने कैसे उड़ाया? देखो, fleeting but spectacular sights snapped in and out of view. I'm reading the second half, second line का half से जो चालू होता है line. Fleeting but spectacular sights snapped in and out of view. कौन सी चीजें व्यू के आर पार निकली? स्नो, शावर ऑफ डिब्रीज, द मून लोमिंग क्लोज एंड बिग. सो शावर ऑफ डिब्रीज एंड मून लोमिंग क्लोज एंड बिग बोथ आर यूज्ड इन द सेम कॉन्टेक्स्ट. डज इट मेक सेंस? बोथ शावर ऑफ डिब्रीज एंड द मून आर यूज्ड इन द सेम सेंस. तो अगर वार्निंग लाइट डेब्री के लिए है तो वार्निंग लाइट मून के लिए भी तो है, बिकॉज बोथ ऑफ देम आर इन द सेम कॉन्टेक्स्ट. तो दोनों एक साथ सही नहीं हो सकते. सो द वार्निंग लाइट इज नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ देम. सो आदित्य, द मून कमिंग क्लोजर, द डिब्रीज, वेरी क्लियरली इट शेयर्स दैट दे आर स्पेक्टैकुलर साइट्स एंड अ वार्निंग हैपन्स बिफोर एन इंसिडेंट. जबकि डेब्रीज एंड मून तो ऑलरेडी ये घटनाएं हो रही हैं. So even if both A and D is an option, that is not the right answer because a warning is not given for an incident which is already taking place. Debris का movement, moon का looming, ये सारे incidents हैं जो already हो रही हैं, उनके लिए मैं कोई warning नहीं दे सकता. So even if A and D is given, no, that is not the option. Catastrophe का मतलब है something which is very bad. Something which is bad, छोटा मोटा, maybe an accident. बट बहुत ज्यादा खराब कोई चीज हो, देन दैट इज अ कैटास्ट्रफी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द कोरोना इन्फेक्शन करंटली इज अ वर्ल्ड वाइड कैटास्ट्रफी. सो समथिंग विच इज वेरी बैड, विच हैज ह्यूज लार्ज इंप्लीकेशंस, देयर वी यूज द वर्ड कैटास्ट्रफी. ठीक है? यस आदित्य, यू मीन सी इज अ फार बेटर ऑप्शन, नॉट बी. यू मीन सी इज अ फार बेटर ऑप्शन, राइट? यस, एग्जैक्टली, यू आर राइट. चलो, थर्ड वन. The statement that the dazzling sunshine for once unfiltered by layers of air means what? Now yahan pe somebody was asking me a question. I'll not reveal it now, but once I explain, I will tell you. This will answer a specific question asked by somebody sometime before in today's session. Okay. द dazzling का मतलब समथिंग विच इज वेरी ब्राइट, आंखों को जो कौंधता है. It does not have to do with heat, it has to do with intensity of light. When we say something is dazzling, we mean visually it is very bright, we don't mean it is hot. So saying that the dazzling sunshine was unfiltered by a layer of air, we are not saying that the sun is hot. What we are saying is, when we are looking at the sun, there is no air in between. So it does not, the sun rays are not passing through layers of air. There is no filter of air in between. So A is not my answer. A is not my answer. Second, many of you might be tempted to mark B as the answer. But I'll tell you, yahan pe locha kya hai. When somebody says that he is not a strong boy, तो आपके मन में क्या आता है? अच्छा, वो बॉय तो है लेकिन स्ट्रांग नहीं है, राइट? When I say he is not a strong boy, what I'm implying that he is a boy, but he is not strong. So now look at it in that sense. Can I say there is no, if the option says there is no strong wind, does he mean to say that there is a weak wind there? No, because there is no air there. Wind is movement of air. And it says they are in space. The moment you know they are in space, you know space does not have air. And it is also given that the light is coming without passing through air, which means there is no air there. So you cannot take B as the option. And the same logic eliminates C also. When there is no air, where is the question of it being polluted or unpolluted? हवाई air ही नहीं है तो polluted non-polluted का कोई सवाल ही नहीं उठता है. So somebody was asking, none of these कब आएगा? Right? Here there are a couple of options which might tempt you to mark, but technically none of these. None of these is what the author is trying to say. The author is literally trying to say that there is no air between your eyes and the sun, which means he's indicating that you are in space. Space is the one place where there is no air, vacuum. Yes. Did everybody understand? Why not option B? Okay, I'll give you the same example, Namra. Harshit. Harshit, if I say that I am not a strong man, तो आपके मन में क्या आएगा? अच्छा, he is not a strong man. You will not say that okay, he's a woman. आपके मन में आएगा he's a man but he's not strong. So when the option says that there is no strong wind, it means there is wind but it is not strong. Does it mean that? Is the author trying to say कि wind तो है लेकिन strong नहीं है? No, he's saying air ही नहीं है. Wind is movement of air. Author is clearly saying कि वहां पे air ही नहीं है, तो weak या strong wind होने का कोई सवाल ही नहीं उठता है. And that's why B is wrong. Did you get that? Okay. What is the catastrophe here? You're coming back from space and some warning light is going on in your module, right? It is extremely cold for 12 hours before re-entry. It is cold and your module is on fire and then it splashes into the middle of the ocean. At any point of time something can go wrong and you can die. इससे बड़ा catastrophe क्या हो सकता है? Right? Catastrophe means something which is very big and bad. Catastrophism, I don't know what is catastrophism. I'm not even sure if that is a word. Catastrophe means something which is big and bad. You can look that, you can check online whether such a word exists, whether catastrophism is a word. As far as I know, I've not come across this word in regular English usage. ठीक है? चलो. If it's a word, then you can look it up. I am not aware of how exactly it is used. Contextually अगर बताओगे तो maybe I can explain. Okay guys, moving on to the next passage. Either you can read it here or you can read it from the PDF which I have sent. In about a minute you should understand it, and this is one of the most interesting passages which I have read so far. आज के पूरे सेशन में one of the most interesting passages. But you have to read a lot between the lines. इसका interpretation बहुत important है. Interpretation समझ में आ गया है तो question सारे लड्डू हैं. I'll give about a minute. Okay. Prerogatives means, okay, it is the teacher's prerogative to appoint the monitor. Means it is the teacher का हक है Prerogative means a hak which you can enjoy. It is the children's prerogative to receive love and affection from their parents. उनका अधिकार है, right? Prerogative means that. Something which you enjoy as a result of something. That's your prerogative. Yes, Maitri. It's a specific right. Maitri has given me that explanation. It's a good one. Distinct it confers. Distinction means a special status which makes you different from others. So distinct it confers means the special status that it gives to you. Okay, ducal means related to dukes and duchesses. In the British Empire, specific titles like India में we used to have Raja, Maharaja and all that. तो वैसे ही in the British royalty, specific titles were given. One of those was Duke, the Duke of Cambridge, the Duke of Edinburgh. So ducal means related to dukes and duchesses. Rembrandt is the name of a person. Rembrandt was a very famous painter like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Picasso. Rembrandt was also a painter and his paintings are extremely expensive. Yes, spelling mistake. You're right. Latter and later. Yes. Later means baad mein. Latter means the second one. So latter, yes. And you can come across these mistakes even in the exams. In fact, last year के पेपर में तो भाई साहब the amount of spelling mistakes that they made. So you will have to be very sure in what they are actually meaning latter. They don't mean later, right? Contextually, they've used it wrongly, but you will have to understand that it's a mistake. That it could be on purpose. We don't know. Just so that you get confused. The word should be latter, not later. Yes, Aditya. Latter means जो बाद में आता है. Former means जो पहले आता है. Correct. The former chief of staff. The latter chief of staff. Former means पहले, latter means बाद में. Lovely passage. Intrinsical means something which is inside it. Something which is not outside, something which is inside it. The intrinsic value of something. The value of something because of a quality which is inside it. Intrinsic. Philanthropists are people who do good. Altruists are also do-gooders. Yes. Philanthropists are altruists. They do it for the benefit of others. Philanthropy and altruism. Yes, Pranav, correct. ऐसे spelling mistakes तो बिंदास होंगे. I've literally taken these passages from actual question papers. So you can see what sort of spelling mistakes even question paper setters make. If there are just one or two errors in a passage, तो भगवान भला करे उसका. Because I've seen passages with tons of errors in them. One exam में तो I saw a passage totally unreadable. इतने errors, मतलब अर्थ का अनर्थ हो रहा था. In fact, people like students shouted after the exam was over. कि क्या है ये? They had to scrap the entire passage. So welcome to the world of entrance exams, where the paper setters are not very careful. Errors तो भर के होते हैं papers में. Okay guys, has everybody read the passage? Did everybody understand what the passage is trying to say? It has been with the rich. कहाँ पे है? Okay, Shrikar. It is the prerogatives, the rights. It is the prerogative. The word it indicates the rights which the rich people get. Last one. So long it has been which with the rich. The distinction. The word distinct, which they use, the status, it has been which the status, the special distinction which they had, that distinction was with the rich. But later it could deteriorate. Do you understand? Shubhankar, no. Being rich is not rare. But being rare makes the rich get special status. पैसेज को अगर मैं एकदम एक लाइन में कंप्रेस करूं, उसका मतलब है जो चीज रेयर है उसको स्पेशल स्टेटस मिलता है. इफ समथिंग स्टॉप्स बीइंग रेयर, इट नो लॉन्गर एंजॉयज एनी स्पेशल स्टेटस. The entire passage is more or less explaining this concept. Did you get that? The entire thing is more or less explaining this concept. Chalo, let's take a look at the questions. The distinction conferred by wealth. Conferred means given. I was conferred the award by the principal. The president conferred the award. Literally, confer means to bestow, to award something. So the distinction which was given by wealth, what about it? My explanation of the passage would make the answer very obvious, right? The passage is not saying that the poor are discriminated against. It is not about how it is spread in the world. But the last two options, which are opposite, it clearly says if something is very common, it is no longer special, right? So you cannot say that it was very great when there were many rich people. It is the opposite. It was very great when there are few rich people. So the best option, obviously D. When very less people were wealthy, then the distinction was special. एक ज़माना था, अगर मैं 25-30 साल पहले की बात करूं, तो कोई बोले कि मेरे पास 1 लाख रुपए हैं, लखपति, it used to make that person a rich person. किसी के पास लाख रुपए हैं, दैट मीन्स दैट पर्सन वॉज अ रिच पर्सन. लखपति वर कंसिडर्ड हॉ. आज के जमाने में अगर आपके पास 1 लाख रुपए हैं, दैट इज नथिंग. सो टुडे यू नेवर हियर ऑफ ये बंदा लखपति है. लखपति तो हर कोई है. सो इट इज नो लॉन्गर समथिंग स्पेशल. कम से कम करोड़ हो तो करोड़पति बनो तो स्पेशल है. लखपति इज नथिंग स्पेशल. वी डोंट इवन यूज इट एज अ टर्म फॉर द रिच. सो डिड एवरीबडी गेट दिस वन? व्हाट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन? Inference, sort of. Priyanka, you don't have to worry type of question kya hai. It could be a combination of different things. This is basically an inference from the passage. Okay, next one. The enjoyment of the physical possession of things. ये तो डायरेक्ट पैसेज से उठाया हुआ क्वेश्चन है. डायरेक्ट. Yeah. So the very first line of the passage, it is giving you the answer. It says the enjoyment of physical possession of things would seem to be one of the prerogatives of wealth, which has been little impaired. To impair something means to harm something. When you say something is little impaired, it means it is not affected, right? So little impaired literally means not being changed. So the answer is directly the first question. It is just interpretation, vocabulary based. If you know that the meaning of being little impaired means not changing, you will directly know that option A is the only one which makes sense, because it is not talking about curtailing or controlling the privilege of wealth. It is entirely about prerogative of wealth. So you cannot say it has little to do with prerogative of wealth, and there is no dispute which is happening. So the very first line, if your vocabulary is decent enough, you will directly be able to answer this question. D cannot be the answer, because the enjoyment of physical possession of things, they don't say it is a prerogative of wealth which cannot be disputed. They're saying it is a prerogative of wealth. That's it. Whether it can be disputed or not. No, the entire passage is not talking about anything. Whether it is right or not, whether it should be challenged or not, ऐसा कुछ भी बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. So there is no question of it being disputed. They are simply saying that to enjoy wealth is your prerogative. Whether it is right or wrong, there is no dispute. So that is not the option. You get that, Amanbir? Passage में कहाँ है कि they are disputing. Disputing means they are challenging the idea. Here, nobody is challenging the idea that the rich are special because of their wealth. There is no challenge to that concept, so it is not a dispute. Dispute means when something is being challenged. ठीक है? Yes, Aditya in fact rightly pointed it out that it is purposely given to trick you because it sounds like the first line. So sometimes you might be tricked into thinking that that is the answer, but it is not. Hope everybody got that one. Yes, चलो. Next. भाई मेरे dots क्यों कर रहे हैं? And I hope you know I can see the name of the person who's putting those dots. It shows on this host screen who is making those dots. Chalo, next one. Ducal families in England. Specific word hai, and if you have read the passage, you will know where it is. All you have to do is go there, read the line, uske aju baju, you'll get the answer. Good. Yes. Ducal passage, somewhere in middle. What does it say? It says, in England, it is widely agreed, the fifth line, ducal families are not uniformly superior. There is a roughly normal incidence of intelligence and stupidity, good taste and bad taste, morality and immorality. Ultimately, what they are saying is that there are all types of people in ducal family. उसमें ऐसे नहीं कि वो सारे अच्छे हैं, कुछ अच्छे हैं, कुछ बुरे हैं, कुछ इंटेलिजेंट हैं, कुछ स्टूपिड हैं, किसी का टेस्ट अच्छा है, किसी का बुरा है. All types of qualities are found is what that line says. So, can we say ducal families are generally agreed to be fairly common? No, because when you read ahead, it shows how ducal families are not common. Right? It says that they are distinct. Distinct, opposite of common. A, not my answer. Generally agreed to be fairly superior. No, it is not talking about their superiority anywhere. So, not my answer. And are superior because they are rich. No, B and C, very similar to each other. Neither of them can be my answer. But by contrasting words like good taste, bad taste, intelligence, stupidity, morality, immorality, what are they saying? They are saying are generally agreed not to be always better than the others. Sometimes they are better, sometimes they are not better. That is exactly the idea which it is conveying, and hence my option D makes the most sense. Because clearly वो line कहता है कि उनमें सब kind of qualities हैं. Yes, not superior is definitely there. It's not a question of superiority because it says clearly ducal families are not uniformly superior. Yes. So fairly superior वाला option तो ऐसे ही उड़ गया. B and C दोनों ही उड़ गए. Clearly it says not superior. And it is not about ducal families being common. So definitely it says they're not always better. Sometimes they are, sometimes they are not. Contrasting ideas. Hope everybody got this one. Okay. Next one. And very interesting. There are more duchesses now because thoda logical thinking hai, but it is clearly given in the passage. Why are there more duchesses? It says जितने dukes हैं उससे ज़्यादा duchesses हैं. क्यों? Of course, very clearly it is given, right? It is given actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7th line, 6th and 7th line. Very few people are dukes and duchesses, although the latter have become more frequent with modern easing of divorce laws. What does it mean? There is a couple, duke and duchess, right? They are divorced. The man, he remains the duke. The woman, however, is a duchess, but she cannot pass the title. What does it mean? When the duke remarries, his new wife also becomes a duchess. But when the duchess remarries, her new husband is not a duke. So duke कम होंगे, duchesses ज़्यादा हो सकती हैं. क्यों? Because of remarriage, divorce and remarriage. So the best possible option, definitely answer A. Got that? How divorce creates more duchesses than dukes? Divorce के बाद जो औरत है, वो ड्यूक को बना नहीं सकती बाय रीमैरिज, बट जो आदमी है वो शादी के बाद नया डचेस क्रिएट कर सकता है. सो ऑब्वियसली देयर विल बी लेस ड्यूक्स एंड मोर डचेसेस. हम साथ साथ 6. Okay, I guess one last question then. Easy question, easy peasy question. Chalo. This is referring to the same lines where they say intelligence and stupidity, good taste and bad taste, morality and immorality, right? उसी से related है. So, first option is obviously wrong. And it's a trick answer. Look at the word very carefully. It says there is a great deal of immortality. Immortality means amarta, जो मर नहीं सकता. And the word used in the passage is immorality. That is bad habits or bad virtues. Right? They look very similar, but they are actually very different. The word morality and immorality has been used in the passage. The first option talks about immortality. And the passage also, supposing you assume that it is a spelling mistake, तो भी passage says both morality and immorality are there. And ये option कहता है कि immorality ज़्यादा है. So obviously not the right answer. A को eliminate करो. Second, there is a fairly even spread of virtues and vices. Virtues means good habits, vices means bad habits. And clearly, stupidity and intelligence, virtue and vice, good taste, bad taste, morality, morality. It says all the opposite characteristics are there, which means definitely they are saying that virtues and vices are equally spread. तो B हो सकता है, लेकिन बाकी के दो options को देख लेते हैं. See, there is a great deal of bad taste. No, it says good taste and bad taste दोनों है. So C is not my answer. Similarly, either great intelligence or great stupidity. Now, yes, it says there is great intelligence and stupidity, but that is not the only thing used to describe the ducal families. Intelligence and stupidity is one among the 3 or 4 options given to show differences in their characters, right? So it is not just about intelligence or stupidity. It is more about how all good and bad things, virtues and vices are there in the families. So although D is not wrong, the better option is definitely option B. So B has to be marked as the answer. Yes, Priyanka correctly says D is very narrow here. Did everybody get this one? Did everybody get this one? Barabar 6. That's it. So I think we are mostly done with the passages. In case any doubts, you can hang around. I hope everybody is doing all the exercises assigned online on TCY, right? There are multiple reading comprehension passages I have given. First, you should be completing all the passages from the textbook which has been given to you. Second, if you have completed textbook, go online, attempt all the reading comprehension passages given there. And in a day or two, and next reading comprehension session ke baad, I will be giving you more passages for practice. In our next RC session, I'll be sending you more passages for practice. In the meantime, you can start completing both the book assigned to you and the online ones. So in case there are no more doubts, you can exit the session, stay home, stay safe. I'll be taking any queries if you have right now.